Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Roberts, Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at SPK and Associates. Joining us today is an important person to our organization. We're going to talk about diving into a really important Jira for enterprise use case scenarios and how companies can maximize the ROI and ensure they're using best practices during an enterprise-wide Jira adoption. So to unpack this topic is my colleague Carlos Almeida. Carlos, thanks for being here. Feel free to
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Thanks, Michael, and I'm feeling important. Thank you for that. Uh, I'm VP of Engineering and been working with SBK for going on 15 years. Feels like just yesterday, but through that time, SBK and myself have been working with numerous customers in the Atlassian ecospace and other spaces such as DevOps and engineering best practices across the board. So we have a lot of war tales and best practices and good engineering ideas when it comes to wide scale enterprise-wide adoption for Jira. And we'd love to share some of that with you today.
So we're very lucky to have somebody who's led countless Jira implementations across different companies, small and large, Fortune 1000 and startups. So Carlos, let me start by addressing maybe the elephant in the room. There's a lot of large organizations that struggle with scaling Jira effectively, and what I want to start with is what are some, from your experience, what are some of the key challenges enterprise face when adopting Jira at scale, and how do they overcome some of those?
Yeah, no, thanks, Michael. So this is sort of a soapbox for me. I believe it's important to start with a game plan. That's day one. We've seen many of our customers tend to grow organically, i.e., often by acquisition, with no plan in place on how to scale up. So when you have a larger organization using Jira or any of the Atlassian tools, that can get real messy and hard to administer. So I like to begin with governance. Governance is one of the biggest challenges. When everyone has admin access or can create their own projects or workflows, you end up with this wild west of custom fields and issue types, random statuses. It slows everything down, becomes a nightmare to manage. And then there's standardization. Different teams want to have their own flavors of Jira projects, which makes sense, but without some consistency in workflows, naming conventions, etc., scaling up across the org can become a total headache. User adoption is another big one for me. People find Jira overwhelming or don't see the value if they don't know how to use it, right? So if your Jira instance is not set up with end users in mind, and if there's inadequate training or support, it becomes that tool that we're supposed to use instead of something people want to use. And then finally, integration with other tools, whether it's Confluence, GitLab, Slack, or maybe some marketplace app, without planning, you can end up with multiple, sometimes duplicate solutions, which not only are inefficient, but can drive up your costs. Our approach when we engage with a customer is we first start with defining your governance, defining your roles, getting your permissions, centralize your admin team. And then we drive to create a core set of reusable workflows and templates. I am a big fan of company managed projects where we can create a golden template for you guys for where you can focus your admin. And then when new teams come on board, essentially they can create from template and therefore you scale and grow in a repeatable, consistent way. And then of course we're a big advocate of training your admins. We want to make sure that we teach you to fish as opposed to just be fishermen. So therefore, we want to lean in on making sure that your team has all the adequate training and really know how to use the solution. For integrations and apps, I always push for a formal functionality review via testing and prototyping. Now, I come from the world of compliance and regulated industry, so this, for me, it follows a formal process. I like to build a sandbox where we can demo and promote and test and making sure that the apps that you have are the ones that you really need to use and you don't have duplicates. Um, and the workflow between the different tools beyond integrations, that the data is actually flowing smoothly, and we'd like to make sure the security between that is clean. So I like to do a formal review and testing and prototyping and demoing with that before we push it into production. And then another thing that I'm, beating a drum on right now is we strongly encourage the planning of your AI component up front. So as you may know, Atlassian has done quite a bit of investment in our AI solutions. The AI that now comes out of the box with your Jira and Confluence is pretty extensive. We can help you set up your knowledge base to leverage Atlassian intelligence. So you now can deflect tickets in your JSM or power up your agents for better self-help. We could also help you to provide resources for your virtual agent to get that to automatically respond 24/7. And then we can extend that with their newer offering, their Robo solution, which I think is pretty amazing, creating virtual experts that are not just IT. And also being able to extend your knowledge base. This is something our customers are often looking for help on. They may have a knowledge base in different place. Their newer solution now with Rovo allows me to connect to your SharePoint or other existing knowledge bases, so you can pull all that information into your proprietary knowledge base.
That, all that's a lot,
I
and all
know.
great points, Carlos. And I gotta say, all those areas are we have I think personal experience with implementations with customers in all of those areas, and how they went well because we kind of organized those implementation components ahead of time. So thank you for summarizing all that. So the other kind of area of Jira that gets looked at a lot is there's a ton of features inside of Jira, and even more now with all the Atlassian intelligence and Rovo features. But we know that not every company is getting all of the value out of all those features that may be there. So what are some best practices that you would recommend for ensuring teams are getting what you feel is the most ROI from their Jira investment?
Yeah, Mike, that's so true. There's a ton of features and there's more coming out every day. So first thing is to stay on top of that with training and being aware of the company's roadmaps. So as a Atlassian partner, like we're right on the front line, making sure that what's coming down the pipeline for our customers is in front of them so they can take advantage of it. So I think to get your money's worth, you really need to understand how you can take advantage of the features you already have, right? Besides the roadmap. I'll just pick a few of the things that I like to talk about. Um, for me, automation is a big changer. Too many teams are still doing manual steps where they don't need to be, right? If you can automate things like assigning tickets, updating statuses, sending reminders. You're not just saving time, but you're reducing human errors, speeding up the whole process. I tell teams to start small with a few key automations and then build from there. And much of those automations require no coding. I'm just so surprised. I get together with so many companies, and we're going through the architecture and they're doing all these things. Sitting out of the box is this great automation platform with little or no coding that you could be taking advantage of. So that's one of my drums I like to beat on. Another one is reporting. A lot of teams, they log their work in Jira, but they don't really look at it. You can really expand that by taking advantage of your dynamic dashboards and gadgets and filters. When you set it up, you get that real-time visibility into your bottlenecks, your workload, your overall progress, whatever you need. And there are a ton of add-ons in the marketplace to check out for more reporting tools. So to me, this is about visibility, making sure that you're tuning the system and aligning it to your business needs as best as possible. And then again, I'm gonna mention training again because sometimes your folks, you may not have a full-time Jira admin on board, and the platform is rich with other tools, and even the individual tools themselves are all a growing list of new capabilities and features. I believe it's important that you invest in training. So even if it's a refresher of what's coming down the pike, or something that's new, we like SPK. We believe in teaching the customers to fish as admins, as I mentioned before, so you can maintain or extend your environment. But we also recognize that sometimes you may not have the time. Folks are really busy, so we're always ready to partner with you to help offload some or all of this. So, we have engagements with customers where we provide application management to not just provide, quick fixes, but a red phone, right? Anything that you need, we're there to help you. So this is another thing that I think is a great investment to help you get your ROI out of your Jira uh, platform.
So I love that, especially the part about the automations. One of my favorite tools inside of Jira. Okay, so Carlos, here's the last big one. Enterprise-wide Jira implementation often requires executive buy-in and cross-departmental collaboration and approvals. So how can organizations drive adoption across all teams, from IT to HR, finance, and everyone? How can they get adoption across all of those teams?
Yeah, that's a big important goal, a big yes for me. You really want to get Jira adopted across the entire organization, not just IT. It is totally doable, but it takes more than just flipping a switch. You got to think in terms of change management and the ROI. So first up, I like to focus on the executive buy-in. If your leadership sees Jira as just another IT tool, it's going to stay stuck in that corner. But if you can somehow show how it supports transparency, accountability, and better decision making in other areas as well, then you have something more interesting. So, Jira can be extended into so many organizations beyond IT, organizations such as finance, HR, sales, marketing, compliance, risk management teams, acquisition teams, you name it. Pretty much any group you can imagine. If you can do that and sell that, then Jira becomes a true business tool and not just an IT tech thing. This is your executive buy-in to show them that. On the grassroots level, I also think that's really important. So if Jira is already on your approved app list, and that's a huge win, you can start encouraging your teams to experiment in low-risk ways, i.e., we can set up a sandbox for you guys, and we can set up, let's pick your finance team to do some sprints on how to manage their vendor payments, or set up an HR team in a sandbox with your onboarding program, and then show you how it's done. So this to me, I'm a big believer in experimentation and prototyping and demoing, because that fires the imagination. It also gives you ability to learn what you don't know and where you can go with it, because every company is different. And then I will add to that. At SPK, I mentioned that, I'm very much coming from the compliance, formulated, regulated industry approach. But I also believe that we need to take an agile mix with that. So from idea to rollout, we'll build you a sandbox where we can build your custom project and prototype it. We'll can do a UAT in there, get validation feedback, and then be able to demo through your organization, back to your executive team. And then the goal here is that you're building a backlog, right? Your system is not one and done. I think it's going to constantly evolve as your business needs change. I need to have that backlog of new features and things going. So if we can help you build that mindset of, we have our backlog, we're going to have a place to try things out, we're going to be able to demo, we're going to be able to do our ROI, and then push into production. Now you have this good pipeline of abilities to continually evolve your system and make your improvements. So you're really aligning your Jira instance for your strategic needs.
Uh, Thank you, Carlos. That's amazing insights. Thank you for your time and experience in giving us that kind of level set. I appreciate it.
Right.
And for those of you watching, if your organization is trying to figure out how to scale Jira or maximize the ROI, please take those answers from Carlos to heart, because they are with lots of years of experience and lessons learned. So please make
You're
sure
just trying to say I'm old. I get it. No.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And of course, if you're looking for a strategic partner to help you with that Jira rollout or implementation, you can contact us. SPK and Associates is a gold Atlassian solution partner, and this is the stuff that we do all the time. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, especially if you want to see more of this type of content. Until next time, Carlos, thank you, and thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Take care, everyone.